Coconut is the most useful plant on the planet. It's the most versatile as it's useful for shampoos, skincare, hydration, detox, and nourishment. Although coconuts are both a nut and a seed, it's closest to a fruit. Botanically, it's classified as a drupe, like coffee and cherries, yet it isn't anything like them. It doesn't depend on chemical defenses to avoid being eaten by animals. Instead, it grows high up on trees from as low as 30 feet with the dwarf varieties and up to 100 feet with the full-size varieties. Coconuts are very hard to open, which is why we need specialized tools and techniques to open them. It makes sense that they're low in anti-nutrients aside from the fiber. There are two types of coconuts we need to worry about: young green drinking coconuts and mature brown eating coconuts. Both have a sweet drinkable liquid inside and white edible flesh. The difference is in the technique and difficulty in opening them, the sweetness of the coconut water and the hardness of the edible coconut flesh inside. They're the same species at different stages of harvesting. Green coconuts are harvested before they're ripe, whilst brown coconuts are allowed to fall off naturally or harvested after 10 to 12 months. Young drinking coconuts, which you may see in stores as dehusked white coconuts, are meant to be opened with a round mallet and coconut opener tool, as seen here. It's very simple. Just place the tool on top of the coconut and hammer it down until it reaches the coconut flesh, and you've opened the coconut. Sometimes the husk gets stuck inside the opener tool, and what you can do is either use the bottom of the mallet to force husk out, or you can use a tablespoon to push it out from the bottom. Afterwards, you can use a tablespoon to scoop out the coconut flesh. Below, you have the alternative of purchasing a shell puncher if you're only interested in the coconut water and not the flesh. I wouldn't recommend it though. It's always good to have the versatility of the coconut opener, despite the higher price. Compared to the price of coconuts, it's insignificant in comparison of the total amount of money you're going to be spending on them. Coconuts cost around $5 each for me. The first step to opening a mature coconut is removing the hair. Use your hands to pull off as much of it as possible in the case of purchasing one that hasn't already been dehusked for you. Don't risk a cut with knives. Now, the next step is to open it. The most common method is to use the back of a large knife or any small blunt object to hammer along the center line of the coconut, holding the coconut in one hand and hammering it with the other. Usually you would do this over a container to catch the coconut water when it breaks. Now, this isn't the easiest or safest method. The safest and easiest is using a coconut breaker plate. Just smash the coconut against the ridge of the plate and it'll break apart, with the coconut water conveniently caught by a plate as well. The reasoning for the different techniques in opening young and mature coconuts is because as the coconut matures, its shell hardens. Coconuts are meant to fall to the ground, and that's how they propagate, and so the shell has to harden to protect itself from the fall. Unlike with other plants, the whole coconut is a seed that doesn't depend on animals to eat the seeds and expel it somewhere else to reproduce. Coconuts are alive for 3 to 5 months after they've fallen off, when they retain the husk, and that's when they're meant to be floating at sea. They could be washed onto a shoreline, and that's where they'll sprout a new coconut tree. There's multiple ways to remove the flesh. The safest way is to use a coconut scraper, which removes it by shredding the coconut meat. Yes, you can instead use an iron rod as well to slice it out, but it's not the safest. Don't use a kitchen knife because people have cut their hands trying to do so. There's also electric graters if it gets too tiring to use a manual tool. By now, you should have the best tools and knowledge to obtain coconut water and coconut meat from both young and mature coconuts. Let's talk about coconut products. Goes without saying that you should avoid purchasing commercial coconut products. High heat, chemical solvent, and deodorization is used for processing them. Minimal processing produces the highest quality coconut products. The best way to ensure quality is to produce these products yourself. You don't have to go as far as growing the coconuts yourself. Just buy the whole coconut and make what you need. While the coconut water in both young and mature coconuts is consumable, the water from mature coconuts is said to be smaller and saltier. Young green coconuts have soft meat that is easier to chew, whilst mature brown coconuts have hard and fibrous meat. This key difference means that the quality of coconut products will differ. The young coconuts that you buy in stores are partially dehusked and have been dipped in a sulfide solution to slow down spoilage. Dr. Bruce Fefide did an experiment where he dipped partially dehusked young coconuts in fabric dye to test the amount of penetration, and found that it didn't reach the meat or coconut water. So the sulfide solution doesn't contaminate the inner shell of the coconut where the meat and water is held. Although sulfide solutions are more common for young coconuts, it does happen to mature coconuts despite them lasting longer. Mature brown coconuts are meant to last long as part of the reproduction cycle. Mature coconut meat has fattier meat, which means that any coconut milk or coconut cream will be fattier in turn. There may be some confusion with the naming conventions of coconut products since, as we know, the terms milk and cream come from dairy. When we make dairy cream from dairy milk, we use a cream separator or let the cream flow to the top of milk, and that's how we get dairy cream. Nothing remotely similar happens with coconut products. Coconut milk is made by taking either young or mature coconut meat, mixing it with hot water and blending it together with either a food processor or blender. You take the resulting mixture and strain it through a cheesecloth, leaving behind all the fiber, and that's how you get coconut milk. Essentially, you have coconut fat mixed with hot water. They use hot water because it extracts more of the fat and flavor from the meat. Many problems with this. They obviously use hot water from the tap. These companies don't care about using clean spring water because most consumers don't even think about it. It pasteurizes the coconut milk, although they'll probably run it through a pasteurizer anyway. All processed products like this, unless specifically stated, are pasteurized. For people who want to live as cleanly and healthily as possible, coconut milk should be seen as a non-food, just like any junk food. There's no such thing as acceptable coconut milk. Even if you were to use clean and cold spring water to make it, it's still a waste of coconut meat that could be used for other products, and is in every way inferior to coconut cream. Coconut meat should be treated as an ingredient to produce coconut products rather than as a food, as it's too fibrous, especially from mature coconuts. Coconut milk has nothing to do with the production of coconut cream, just to get that out of the way. Coconut cream is made by taking young or mature coconut meat and extracting the fat through mechanical grating, hydraulic pressing, or cold pressing. Confusingly, with centrifugation, you can supposedly obtain coconut cream, but I don't recognize it as such since the coconut fat has been diluted with water when you make coconut milk. It's also been pasteurized, and anything from the water, including chemicals and toxins, is mixed in with the coconut. It's a pasteurized and poisoned product. Coconut oil is made by first making coconut milk, then separating the oil through fermentation, heat, or centrifugation. When they use fresh coconut, it's usually minimally processed, but if they use coconut pulp, it's heavily processed. Coconut pulp is dried coconut meat. Everything you can do with coconut oil, you can do with coconut cream. Coconut oil is an inferior product. Before we continue, I want to plug this raw coconut cream that I found for sale. It's great that sellers have awareness of arduousness, so they understand the importance of it being raw. If you live in the US, you should consider purchasing it. Not that making coconut cream is a complicated process. If you're at home and interested in making coconut cream, purchase the products I mentioned before, and in addition, save up for a Green Star or Angel Juicer. Simply take the coconut meat and run it through one of the aforementioned juices, and the result is coconut cream. Producing coconut cream is less complicated than coconut milk. If you use the young coconut meat, you'll get light coconut cream because of the lower fat content. Sometimes they call this product coconut milk because it's less fatty, but to avoid confusion, we'll call this light coconut cream. For mature coconut cream, it'll be regular coconut cream or heavy coconut cream to distinguish them. You can run the used up coconut meat from the juicer 2-3 times again to extract what little coconut fat had remained in the meat. It will be lighter obviously, but there's no need to waste any of the coconut fat. When you open up the juice to clean it, some of it will have turned into coconut cream, so be sure to catch as much of it as possible. Coconut cream can be substituted for dairy cream in ice cream. A 2-to-1 cream to milk ratio is recommended. Fermented coconut cream can be used as a body wash and shampoo. Ferment for a week until it turns pink with 9 parts water and 1 part coconut cream. Coconut cream is excellent for skincare. I use coconut oil on my skin, and within 3 days of continuous use, I had baby smooth skin. I imagine coconut cream would be more effective because of the extra fat. They're also used for healing skin in general, if you have a rash or an itch. Coconut cream can be used for shaving. You can combine green clay with coconut cream to make a toothpaste. Fresh or fermented works. You can use the coconut cream alone, but the clay will polish your teeth. 1 tablespoon of coconut cream to 1 teaspoon of tamarind clay, as was suggested by Arjun. Coconut cream is actually a great coffee replacement because it energizes you as you get an adrenaline rush from detoxing like coffee. But unlike coffee, it's not the coconut cream that's poisoning you, it's just causing detoxification. You're advised to eat raw cow cream with coconut cream to stabilize yourself from the detoxification. The more fermented the coconut cream, the more cleansing. Oil pulling can be done with coconut cream as you would with coconut oil. Swish around your mouth for 12 minutes, then spit it out on a good diet. Do it for 30 minutes on a bad diet. Coconut butter is shredded dry coconut meat, either using a food processor or blender. Fresh coconut can't actually be used to make coconut butter because it's too wet. The difference is that no effort is made to remove fiber from the coconut fat, unlike with coconut milk and coconut cream. If you're eating coconut butter, you're just eating dry, shredded coconut meat. Coconut butter is a solid rather than liquid like coconut cream. It's extremely fibrous and I would advise against eating it. I had some store-bought coconut butter before and had bleeding stools because of how hard it is to digest. Eating coconut butter is worse than eating coconut meat. Stay away from it. To sum it up, coconut milk has no fiber and little fat. Coconut cream has little fiber and is very fatty. Coconut butter is full fiber and almost no fat. Coconut milk has a higher fat to fiber ratio compared to coconut butter because in making coconut milk, we remove all of the fiber. Coconut butter is worse than even drinking pasteurized coconut milk mixed with tap water because of the fiber that's going to irritate your gut. Coconut flour is the waste product you get after making coconut milk and coconut cream. A scam. If you're worried about glycation from the coconut water because of the sugar, I would throw out the coconut water and drink cucumber or tomato juice. But the coconut cream should hydrate you sufficiently anyway. Coconut water from young coconuts is sweeter. I just believe that coconut cream was perfect for hydration and fuel for athletes as it was perfect in terms of macronutrients, being 80% fat, 15% protein, and 5% carbohydrates. Raw coconut cream gets deep into the tissues, just as raw butter does. I'll put a study in the description of the effects of coconut water and coconut milk in diabetic rats. Some people believe that coconut water and coconut milk is beneficial despite the sugar. Sugar is a very nuanced topic. There are exceptions to sugar being simply harmful. I just believe that raw honey was only 10% glycation when you consumed it because it contained an insulin-like substance. William Campbell, who wrote the Milk Book, believes that raw lactose isn't harmful as it was even used to treat diabetic patients, no matter how many pounds of milk sugar they drank, because it's only the pasteurization that turns the lactose into beta-lactose, which makes the sugar absorb faster, and the destruction of galactase, which is used to adjust lactose, which makes milk harmful. Now we have our third sugar exception, which are raw coconuts. I just recounted an anecdote where he met one tribe that lived to an average of 138 years old, who lived exclusively on coconuts and fish. Women ate half a coconut daily. Men ate a whole coconut with 3 pounds of fish. He specified that it was mature coconuts they ate, not young. August Engelhardt was a German who moved to the tropics to consume a coconut monodiet, believing that it was the key to immortality. He lasted 17 years and he died mentally ill and severely malnourished at 43 years old. What's impressive is how long he lasted. Most vegans quit within a year, but he persevered for 17 years. I wanted to investigate the reasons why he was able to survive so long. The advantage we have over Engelhardt is we have access to powerful juices such as Green Star and Angel juices that are efficient at extracting the coconut cream from the coconut meat. If he wouldn't have eaten the fiber, he would have been more nourished and lived much longer and healthier. You can make coconut cream with less powerful juices, but more of the fiber remains in the coconut cream, so I wouldn't recommend it. Engelhart had to eat the fiber. We can avoid the fiber and eat coconut cream, which is mostly saturated fats. Coconuts have the highest amounts of saturated fats amongst plant foods, making them the healthiest. I want to give my respects to Engelhart. Although he didn't achieve his dream of immortality, thanks to him, we have learned the sustainability of coconut consumption. Through our memories, he did become immortal in the end. If he wasn't so stubborn with his coconut obsession, we wouldn't know how far a human could push their limits. I will be experimenting with a 1 month coconut cream fast in 2026 to see how I feel. I cannot emphasize strongly enough how great coconuts are. Definitely a S tier plant to have. Nothing even comes close. If tomorrow all animal products were banned, I would eat nothing but coconut cream for the rest of my days, or until the system collapses and we can eat meat again. Coconuts are the closest plant food to animal food. Can be eaten raw, available year round, low in toxins, detoxification, and full of saturated fat. If for some reason you won't have access to raw animal products, definitely try to save up for a green cell or angel juicer, so you have some way of sustaining yourself. It's not optimal, but it's the best you can do with plants. If you want to know more about coconuts, check out this book. It has some history, esoteric knowledge, and coconut recipes. Not just cooking recipes, but body scrubs and such. It's unfortunate that the author doesn't understand that most plant oils are harmful and promotes cooking. The only other plant oil that isn't harmful would be avocado oil, if you eat whole avocados, not the processed extracted avocado oils that you find bottled. One of the things I learned from this book is that pesticides weren't found in coconut oil. Commercial coconut oil being deficient for humans notwithstanding, the point is that pesticides still aren't widely used in coconut production, making it one of the better plants for humans. The big issue of these naturalistic books is that while it acknowledges the harmfulness of commercial petroleum products for accumulating inside your body, it makes the mistake of assuming that everything in nature is healthy. Assuming that seed oils are good for skincare simply because it exists in nature, whilst ignoring the practicality of extracting it as humans living in nature. Talks a lot about fiber being healthy, which is why we should be eating coconuts. It is what it is when it comes to these health conscious books. The authors often have plant-based backgrounds because when you look into health on these search engines, you're bombarded with plant positive news.